morning. This is the Daily BRIX News Morning Newscast, broadcasting from the United States of America. I'm Wendy Williams from the place of the scene.
Hello, 1792. Welcome to the news. Jennifer Jones greets you. We start with you, Wendy.
During the morning of the present day, the winners of the elections for president and vice president were announced.
That's right. Well, the bottom line is that we have Georgia Washington, former Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, was the only president candidate and was re-elected for her second term with 132 electoral votes, and surprisingly, as vice president, we also have John Adams again with 77 votes.
Although Washington was basically unopposed, nevertheless, we have to remember that John Adams during this election had a very tough competition with Governor George Clinton.
That's right. And well, let's remember these are elected by the Electoral College, that is composed by representatives of each state, and is decided depending on the number of inhabitants in each state.
Even though they were elected unanimously by the Electoral College, some people have shown their disapproval about the administration of the president.
This ended in the creation of the Democratic Republican Party, which is led by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. So now the defenders of President Washington administration are called Federalist Party.
Here are some words of the president after being re-elected in her speech today.
I am again called upon by the voice of my country to execute the functions of its chief magistrate. When the occasion proper for it shall arrive, I shall endeavor to express the high sense I entertain of this distinguished honor, and of the confidence which has been reposed in me by the people of United America.
I love you, Georgia Washington!
And I love you too, our citizen!
Giving you some additional information about your favorite candidate, Georgia Washington.
Georgia Washington was born at Pope's Creek in 1732, located in Westmoreland County, Virginia. Pope's Creek Plantation was her birthplace. Augustine Washington, her father, built the plantation house in the 1720s.
Georgia Washington began inheriting enslaved people when she was 11 years old. In context, she inherited 10 enslaved people from her father's will. She would continue to inherit boy and rent. It is expected that by his death, she will have at least 577 people under his command. Georgia Washington's first career was a surveyor. Washington's first attempt to survey the land near Mount Vernon in the 1740s. Then in 1748, when she was 16, she accompanied George Williams Fairfax on a surveying expedition across the western frontier of Virginia. The following year, Washington secured an appointment as country surveyor for the newly created border county of Culpeper. George Washington contracted smallpox while visiting Barbados in 1751. Georgia Washington accompanied his older half-brother Lawrence Washington out of the North American continent on November 17, 1751. Georgia Washington contracted smallpox. Fortunately, she recovered and became immune for the rest of her life.
Georgia Washington's first elected office was in the House of Burgesses.
For this, she lost. However, now she won, and also, as we said before, she served in the Virginia House of Burgesses from 1758 to 1776. Aaron is going to ask someone in the audience about their knowledge of the elected president.
Excuse me, if it's not too much trouble, we will ask you a few questions about Georgia Washington.
All right.
Did you know if Georgia Washington is married?
I think she is.
Did you know with whom?
I think Martha Washington, if I remember correctly.
That's how it is. Now we will look for Georgia Washington for one last question.
Oh, let her go. Good afternoon, journalist.
A little question. How many years have you been married to Miss Martha Washington?
What a nice question. I have been married to my loving wife for 40 years.
Did you have children or plan to have them?
We have not been blessed with any biological ones, but it is still a beautiful experience. I think that parental experience is important. Martha and I have always loved children. She had two surviving children from her previous marriage, John Parcutis and Martha Parcutis, who I adopted as my own.
That's very, very noble of you. When did you guys get married and what's your story?
We were married in January 1759. Many tried to woo my beautiful Martha, but she chose me in the end. They moved into the Washington house in the Mount Vernon in early April of that same year.
That's incredible. If I may, another question. Are you religious?
That's right. I have been all my life. Martha and I are very devoted to the Anglican Church. Martha spends time in the prayer daily, and I serve as a sacristan and church warden for my local parish.
Absolutely admirable. Could you tell us about your beautiful home?
The mansion's square footage is 11,028. It has 21 rooms. Also, a small fact, I designed extensions to the mansion.
Thank you very much for your time. You're amazing. This nation could not have chosen a better president.
Thank you.
Thank you for that great interview. That's all from me. We return to the studio.
Well, what a great interview. That would be all for today. Thanks for staying tuned. See you in the next news tomorrow.